Hello and welcome to the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to helping you live a happier, healthier, and stronger life. Building a life that you love starts with you owning your health and intentionally creating the best version of yourself. So if you're looking to better understand how proper nutrition, daily movement, mindset work, and strength training can help you create a life full of happiness and health, then you are in the right place. I generally hope that the tips, tricks, and information that we share will be the catalyst for change. I'm your host, Adam Lane. It's time to dive in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast. I'm your host, Adam Lane. With me today from beautiful Winchester, Virginia, Mr. Shawn Rider. Shawn, thanks for joining us.
What's happening, Adam? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for fighting through technology.
Yes.
It almost beat us today, but we overcame, persevered.
Yeah, we only had to be patient and wait 6 or 8 minutes and then switch over to the phone. So like I was telling you before we hit record, I have 2 big dogs at my feet and I'm at my house instead of my office. So if you're one of the listeners that likes to listen on max volume, be careful because there may be a bark or two right in your ear. Yeah,
no,
we should be good.
Totally. No, you're good, bud. No, I appreciate it. I know you're a busy guy. You got lots of things going on. Shawn, you're always spinning lots of plates. And you very interesting story for the tens of listeners that listen to the show who might not know who you are and why you're such a big deal. Tell them who you are and why you're such a big deal.
Yeah. First of all, that is a lie. I'm not a big deal, but it does from the outside. It looks like I'm spinning a ton of plates, but everything I tell people, I get that statement a lot. It's like, oh, you're doing all these different things. And what people, may not realize is that all of those things are connected and they're complements of one another. But, who am I? I'm 35. I'm married and I have 2 kids under the age of 7. I owned a CrossFit gym for 12 years and recently closed that down. And then my wife, with my back-end mentorship and support, is opening a new fitness facility franchise in Winchester, Metabolic. And so we're super excited about that. But, what I do is, I've built businesses. More than one business. The gym business was the main focus for a while, and then started getting into mentoring other business owners, and then got into investing in real estate and coaching people on money management, different non-traditional personal finance strategies and systems. And so like my big attention right now is just my investment portfolio, supporting my wife and the staff that she's hiring for the Metabolic. And ultimately, I run a men's mastermind group with my mentor and business partner, Jeff Smith. It's called the Tactical Empire. So it's the inner circle is a men's only paid mastermind. And we're helping those guys become healthier individuals, better fathers, better husbands, and ultimately make a metric fuck ton of money along the way. So that's kind of what we focus on. There
we go. So Shawn, what impresses me with you, because you have this, and I listen to your podcast, very entertaining podcast. I've never met Jeff, but I feel like I know Jeff. I know he's from Illinois, isn't he? Somewhere in the state?
He's originally from Illinois, but he has lived in Houston, Texas for quite a few years. And then, ultimately in the Tactical Empire, we preach the 4 F's: family, fitness, finance, and freedom. And Jeff is a living, breathing example of what we preach in order to define what you want out of your life, mainly around those 4 areas. And come to find out, like over the past 2-3 years, him and his wife were talking about someday we're going to buy an RV. Someday we're going to travel across the country. And last year, or 2 years ago, when they did their vision exercise, which is what we do in the Tactical Empire, they realized, why do we keep saying someday? Why don't we put the puzzle pieces together and do that now? They have 4 kids under the age of 11 and 12, I believe. Their youngest is like 3 or 4 years old. And they have a big dog. So this is a family of 6 with a big dog living in a 3,300 square foot house in Houston, Texas. And as of 2 weeks ago, they finally sold their house. They have a brand new Brinkley RV, and they've been full-time RV life family. The goal is to be RVing across the country for 2 to 3 years and go to 49 states and homeschool their kids, which they've been doing since 2020. So that's Jeff, man. He's from Illinois, lived in Texas, built big businesses, helped people build big businesses. He has a big real estate portfolio. Him and I are building Tactical Empire, and now he's a full-time RV family. So it's insane to watch them go about that transition, but it's awesome.
Very cool. And I think this is just a nice place to dive into your 4 F's. Can you run through those?
Yes, the 4 F's are family, fitness, finances, and freedom. And when someone comes into the Tactical Empire, and we have our, like you said, we have our podcast, the Tactical Empire, and anyone can listen to that. We do have a free Facebook group, Tactical Empire Community. Men and women can be in that. But very early on, when someone gets involved in our content, they're going to hear a phrase over and over again. And that phrase is, you are the asset. So yes, we talk about money a lot. Yes, we talk about being better husbands and fathers. Everything starts with you, the individual. You are the asset. And as a gym owner myself, and as a gym owner yourself, how many times has an adult, whether it be male or female, parent or non-parent, has sat across that desk from you before they became a member, and they said, I did really well. I was really fit and active and healthy when I was younger, and then XYZ happened, and I let myself go. XYZ happened, and I prioritized my kids. XYZ happened, and I had to take care of the home. It's like all that. Yes, we have to do those things. We have to make sure our kids are getting into the programs that we want to get them into, that they want to get into. Yes, we have to be there for our spouse, but we cannot do any of that at the detriment to ourselves, because you are not helping anybody if you're not helping yourself first. You have to put your oxygen mask on first. Okay. So you are the asset. So for me, fitness is the first thing. Fitness, no matter what order I say the 4 F's in, fitness, which is physical and mental health, comes first. Just because I say that does not mean you put everything else to the wayside. You do not ignore your spouse. You do not ignore your kids. It does not take very much. It does not take very much. We might dive into that later, but it does not take very much to be a healthy, physically and mentally healthy individual, but you have to prioritize that time first, and that will make you better at everything else. Do not sacrifice the 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour a day. It could be 10 minutes on Wednesday afternoon. It doesn't have to be an hour every single day to prioritize yourself. You are the asset. So fitness comes first. And then family is, how do you show up for your family? This isn't some big concept that we have to like have this huge philosophy over. What we talk about with the men, and we just had our meetup in Birmingham, Alabama, and I pull this is one of the greatest things from Jordan Peterson. Now, Jordan Peterson, I don't understand 89.5% of what he says, because he thinks at a whole other level that most of us can't. But there's one takeaway I had from one of his books, and it was like, so many families spend months, weeks, days planning their annual family vacation, which is literally 7 days out of the year. Okay. And over a 40-year marriage, they've spent absolutely zero time discussing how they want to greet each other every single time someone walks into the house. So think about that. We're going to spend days, weeks, months, and a ton of money planning our vacation, but we have never asked our spouse, hey, Adam, home from work, how do you want me to address you? What do you want that ritual to be? Because how many times a day does that ritual occur? Once, twice, maybe 4 times someone leaves the house and comes in? That happens every single day for 40 years. That is way more important than the family vacation. You should not wait for the family vacation to be able to disconnect from work and connect with your family. You should be connecting with your family on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. So we talk about communicating, couples annual planning, actually sitting down with your spouse and planning out, what do we want the next 3 years to look like? Now let's break that down into a 12-month plan, 90-day actions to take, and what do we need to do right now to get us closer to that? So those are the first two, fitness and family. I don't know if you want me to keep going or stop right there and circle back.
Well, and the thing I wrote down here was that you are the asset. And I think parents forget that all the freaking time. Like they prioritize all these things, and then Johnny switches club baseball teams, and then their life is an upheaval, and like, oh, I have no time to work out. And it like you said, it doesn't take much. It can be an hour. It can be 10 minutes. It could be, if you do 15 minutes, every single day, hey, we're doing some okay things like that adds up. But I think it's really hard for parents. I'm going to say all parents, but maybe more so mothers. I could be a little off here, but like to really put them first, because they're not good at that. But man, how much better you show up for that family, for your job, for everything, if you prioritize just yourself, just a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't matter which gender we're going to talk about here, but we could say, for the majority, women are putting themselves second to the kids, and men are putting themselves seconds to their career because they view themselves as the protector and the breadwinner, right? That's still, regardless of what your family structure looks like my wife has a very important W-2 job. She works for a multi-$100 billion global company. She works, the 8 to 5 o'clock. Her job is serious, and I have a little bit more freedom. So in my household, I'm the one that's usually 90% of the time emptying the dishwasher and cooking dinner and starting the laundry and stuff like that. So I recognize that men can do that too. But let's just say men put themselves second to their job, their health second to their job, and women put themselves second to their children. You need to cut out the little sliver of time, because over a long enough timeline, and it starts, we see it, in the late 20s, early 30s, when people are starting to start their families, really build their career. And it doesn't look like much is changed. But the habits that you have now, and in this context, we're talking negative habits. You start drinking a little bit more nights out, a little bit later, catch up on those Netflix shows, and you that to when you're rushing out, so you don't have any time to relax before pumping yourself with caffeine, or no time to make a healthy breakfast and to get to work on time. And those, the next 10 years, are setting you up for a and 50, a really big rude awakening. People, we both have a lot of clients in their 40s and 50s. It's not too late for you guys. Statistically speaking, you're going to live to be 77, 80 years old. If you're going to live 77, 80 years old. If you're working out and eating pretty healthy right now and getting some sleep, you're probably going to live into your 80s, 90s, and potentially your hundreds. But the people listening that are in your 20s and 30s right now, you need to be very keen and aware on the habits that you've established over the past few years, ever since you got out of college or high school, when you could eat and do anything and not gain a pound. So those daily incremental things matter, and most of them do not take a lot of time.
Yeah, I miss those days, but those were good days. I could eat anything.
I love it. It's easy to say, that's easy to say, and I connect with that. Looking back at college as a college football player, we had a Chick-fil-A in the cafeteria, and I played football, walked on at Appalachian State University, so pretty serious football school. And the football team would go eat Chick-fil-A for lunch, and then we'd walk up the mountain to go to the training studio and do our workout. Right? We could eat Chick-fil-A before we worked out. But you know what? When you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, and you eat well, you move your body, you sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. Some people will scoff at that. And you get outside when the sun's up. I don't miss shit food. Yes, I still love the taste of a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and I wish I could eat a Big Mac every single day. But I don't miss it when you actually start doing things that make you feel good. And I probably felt worse in my 20s than I realized, because I didn't know what healthy felt like. I didn't know what healthy felt like. And I think there's a big difference between being healthy and being overly fit. I think you can take fitness to the extreme to where you're actually unhealthy. And we've seen that with the prevalence of, hey, you're going to do this competition and we're going to put you on a world leaderboard, and then you're going to idolize and watch these people in their early 20s when you're a 40-year-old, and you're going to watch them do 3 days, 5 days worth of workouts. And these are the same types of things that you should be doing. I think that is pushing the wrong message. And don't get me wrong, I was definitely one of those people. I competed in some higher level competitions in the sport of fitness. But as we age, I think we need to simplify things, and simple is better, and simple will make you feel what true health feels like.
Yeah, I'm that whole continuum. I don't necessarily buy into. Yes, there's sickness, wellness, fitness, and then death. I think you could push it too far and really run it hard, because really most professional athletes are not the healthiest people in the world. LeBron's got joint pain up the wazoo. looks like a Greek god, but like he's in pain and he's beat up his body. And you can push that too much, and then it takes away from everything that we're talking about here, and that's that's no good at all. Let's keep going. So sorry, we did fitness, we did family. Keep going.
Finance and freedom. So finances, right? God, this is a big topic, and this is probably the one that I'm most passionate about. We all know. Well, I shouldn't say we all. I hate blanket terms like that as well. It doesn't take much research to pop on Google and search a few personal finance statistics, especially in the United States. When the majority of people don't have $1,000 in the bank account, that's a problem. When we all know people that make six figures that still verbally say they have no money, whether they're telling the truth or not, they're thinking it because they're saying it. That's a problem. So financial literacy is a big issue in our country. I was a former high school finance and economics teacher. So I was a part of the minority teachers in the country to help facilitate personal finance. That is usually not a topic that is taught in high school, but in the state of Virginia, it was a required credit to graduate high school. So I was very fortunate to get a job in Virginia where that mattered. It's really interesting to talk about it nowadays, just because of the current macroeconomics of the country and what real inflation is. And I don't want to dive down that rabbit hole. So I say all this with respect that things are pretty tough right now as compared to 3, 4, 5 years ago in regards to the cost of living. When you look at not the basket of goods that the government puts together, but the real basket of goods that we have to pay for on a regular basis: rent, mortgages, insurance, electric, gas, things like that. Those things are getting hit really hard right now. Regardless, here's another underlying theme. Because you are the asset, when we're looking at all four of the F's, finance in particular, when we say you are the asset, the complement to that statement is you no longer can abdicate responsibility for these things to someone else in your life. So I'm a big advocate of calling out the big companies and saying that they put bad shit in our food. But you can't just say that you're fat because companies put bad shit in their food. You have a choice on to educate yourself. Well, I don't have the education, but there's no greater time in human history to educate yourself on YouTube. Like it really doesn't take much to start making changes. You are the person that's choosing to drink soda. It doesn't take very much to turn the label around, see that a can of Coca-Cola has 46 grams of sugar, right? Your podcast is going to get banned now that I said that out loud. It does. Same with money. Same with money, right? Like, show me your bank statements, and I will tell you where your priorities are. I enjoy taking my family out to dinner. It does not elude me that it's going to land somewhere between $50 and $100 every time I do that. So if we do that every Friday night, that's a lot of money. That's $200 to $500 a month on eating out. That is 2 weeks worth of groceries or whatever it may be, right? I don't know. I cannot abdicate financial responsibility of my family to the fact that inflation is 25% over the past 4 years. I have to make sacrifices. I have to. So your bank statement will tell me what you prioritize. Your budget line for healthy eating will tell me how you prioritize nutrition. How much you spend on your gym membership will tell me two things: how much you either prioritize your gym membership or how much knowledge you have. Because I'm someone that can pay $30 a month and go to a traditional gym, and I know what I'm doing. I know that's not most people. So if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be paying $30 a month to try and figure it out on your own. You should be hiring a coach. But I can't afford a coach. Okay, cool. Well, you can afford $800 car payment because you bought the $70,000 vehicle instead of $30,000 vehicle. Like we could have arguing all day long. So the thing is you just cannot abdicate financial responsibility. If you're not tracking what you're eating, you could very easily be under eating or overeating. If you're not tracking what you're spending and what you're making, you could very easily be under earning and overspending, right? I think it's very easy in today's age to say you just need to cut all your expenses that are like, okay, cool. It'd be a lot easier just to like increase our income by 20 to 25%. hourly employees, I get that you just have to work more to earn that money. But if things are tight, you have to sacrifice and do what you have to do. But also show me the settings on your phone and show me your screen time. Like all these things, it's the same principle, just applied to a different area of life, right? So, finances is huge. I don't want to downplay personal finances. It is a rule of science that you should spend less than you make. We are not the government, and we are not big businesses who can have multi-billion-dollar valuations while running at a loss, right? These big software companies don't even have profit, but they're valuable because they're getting data. Your home does not work that way, right? Your home does not work that way. So you have to have your eyeballs on these numbers. You have to understand changes over time. And unfortunately, Americans don't like this. You have to make sacrifices, right? So whether it's stop watching Netflix so you can get 8 hours of sleep a night, and yes, that's going to take you 2 to 4 weeks to adjust. So you're going to be laying in bed for an hour, staring at the ceiling, saying, this is stupid. You got to stick with it. Or adjusting, going out to eat every Friday night. Like, hey, you have to stop taking your kids to the ice cream shop and just stay at home, and make another half healthy dinner. Like, that's going to save you $40, and $40 over a year is a lot of money, until you figure out how to make more money. But you cannot sit around waiting for someone else to make a law that's going to help you with your money. It's not going to happen. You cannot wait around for a coach to write the right program. This is another thing I'm infuriated as a 12-year gym owner, is like, there's no special program out there for you. So why are you paying a coach to go to a group class and then slipping $50 in on the side on this online program to do more after class? Like, knock it off. Like, stop doing that. You're complicating it. You're making it complex. You're doing too much work for your body. Again, we're talking to the people that are 30, 40, 50, 60 years old that have other responsibilities. You should not be in the gym for 2 to 3 hours a day. If that makes you happy, cool. But I would argue to say that if you do have a partner, if you do have kids, if you do have a career, you're at the gym way too much to the detriment of the other things. So we're not trying to find this happy balance. I don't believe in balance, but we are trying to find this ebb and flow between what is enough of everything. Now you got me on my soapbox. I don't believe in give it 110% in everything in life. I'm really trying to ebb and flow between 70 to 100% on any given day with any given topic. Some days I can give my workouts 90% effort, and I'm going to give, my nutrition 70%. As long as I average out at 80 to 85% on all those over a week or a month, I'm still good to maintain what I have created in my life. It's something that even me rambling on this podcast, it can sound super confusing. But when someone comes to me and they have a very distinct problem, and I look at these 4 areas, I can see that they're going 110% in one area and they're going 0% in the others. I'm trying to decrease the attention in the one while increasing the attention in the others, and empowering them to just create a new habit stack on their daily habits over a 7-day span in a week, to where they're touching on a little bit of these all the time. And that spectrum that I talk about, that ebb and flow, is my lower limit of enough and my upper limit of enough. I read a collection of essays from Patrick Rohn called Enough. I read this years ago, and I like recommending books that most people have never heard of. So I don't know if you've ever heard of that one. Most people haven't. It's a collection of essays by Patrick Rohn, and the book, the collection of them, is called Enough. It's a bunch of essays on enough. And there was a line in that book that has stuck with me. And it was, obviously enough has to be defined by the individual. What's enough for me of something may not be enough for you for something. But in order to find enough, because people say they want to find balance, and I don't think it's about finding balance. I think it's about finding enough. In order to find enough of something, you have to have too little of it, and then you have to have too much of it. So think about that. Too little fitness, start to gain weight and be lethargic and have medical issues and be put on meds. Too much fitness, you will have pain. you will have mental health issues. For the most part, is what we see in high level fitness athletes. You'll start to deteriorate relationships because you're so focused on that. Let's talk about physical intimacy with your spouse. There's definitely a lower limit. Like if you haven't had intimacy in weeks, months, years, that's a problem. If you have sex 5 times a day, that'll be a problem. Like there's upper limits to all this, but it's different for all of us. Money. You could work too much. We all know these people as well. You could make $500,000 a year, but have to work 80 hours a week and be gone for, 2 weeks at a time, a month at a time from your family. I will tell you right now, Adam, if someone said, hey, Shawn, for the next 3 years, I will pay you $500 million, but you will be gone more than you're home. Like, I don't care. I will not take that job. And other people will say I'm stupid for that. No, I'm not stupid because I understand what I want. I understand. I've defined success and fulfillment in my life, and I've defined enough when it comes to working hours and money. Now I'm still striving. You're going to say, if you get on my social media, I'm a high achiever, right? I'm trying to stretch myself, but I've put in a lot of work for little pay. I've put in a lot of work for high pay. At the detriment of my relationship, my marriage, my parenting. I was not a good father with my first child for the first 2 years. I wasn't ready to be a father, nor did I want to be one. And I really had to put a lot of work, and I had to make sacrifices in these other areas because I viewed myself as that macho, masculine. I'm the breadwinner. I need to be at work. I have this business. I need to answer the email at 7 o'clock at night. That email can't wait till tomorrow. And man, it's just, it's a whole nother side of the fence when you're on the backside and you're like, that's what I'm saying. Like, oh, if you're going 100% at work, oh, if I go down to 80%, my business is going to suffer. No, I'm going to argue that it's going to be more successful. Because if with that 20% delta, if you start taking care of yourself, your 80% at work is going to be more efficient and more productive than the 100% half-assed lethargic husband that hasn't had sex in a month. That's a big problem in my eyes. So with a lot of these men that's coming into the tactical empire, it's are you dating your wife on a weekly basis? Are you guys addressing each other when you walk through the door? What does your love life look like? Are you the type of parent that puts your kids in sports while you're sitting over there eating McDonald's because you didn't meal prep on Sundays? Like, that's not the type of people we want you to be. We want you to get this shit in order. So let me shut up for a second, man, because you got me on my soapbox. We're hitting the topics that I'm super passionate about. But with money, don't abdicate financial responsibility. With fitness, don't abdicate financial responsibility.
Dude, that was great. I mean, there's my biggest frustration with where we are, and we're going on. Holy cow! What year is this? 24. It will be 12 years for us in August, and so of having the gym, and and then with the coming metabolic and stuff like that. Like I've heard every excuse under the sun for why this isn't working for me. I don't have time. This is this, that is that. And I get that. And I get there are seasons in life for people. And like, there are times where like I fall off the wagon and my workouts suffer or my nutrition suffers. And if it's for a little bit of a season, a little bit of a road bump, because we all have stress and there's all stuff, I get it. But if you do that year after year after year after year, like you're going to be in trouble. And really, like you said right there, like you're going to be at 0% on, some of these things and 100% on others of these things. And there's not going to be the balance that you're looking for. I think no different in the gym. Like, yes, I want to be strong, but you should have some cardio so you can walk upstairs and not be out of breath, so there's got to be some balance. Okay. Well, I have cardio, but I have no flexibility. Oh, okay. Well, getting onto the ground is really hard then, so we need some balance there. No, man, I love that because I think that is my biggest thing with, it's a weird world that we live in. A couple of years ago, the government gave us money. Hey, here, this is some economic relief. We're having issues. But now, you give a couple of years later, and now everything's more expensive, and so that money is gone. It might help people for a time, and that, but like now we're to the point where like the government's not coming to save you. Like you need to take responsibility for where you are and what you're doing with your health and wellness and your nutrition and, and your financial side of things. And I don't care where you are within it, whether you're looking to invest in different things or if you're just looking to, get more than $1,000 in that savings account. It's on you because, like you said earlier, you're the asset.
Yeah, man. You're speaking my language. It's something that I'm super passionate about. What I'm excited most about, the harp on the metabolic thing is what drives me towards that concept is one, they will tell you the pace for the day, and two, they're telling you to only show up 4 times a week. And that's I kind of alluded to that earlier after owning let's just say at a CrossFit gym for 12 years. It was like, oh, we want you guys to show up early and we want you to stay late and we want you to come as many times as a week as you can make it. And you watch the same clients who show up 6 days a week, but their bodies don't change. Their mental health doesn't change. Their aesthetics don't change. And why is that? Because they literally are not making the time to rest. They are not making the time to meal prep. They are not making the time to be home, to finish their home responsibilities so they can get to bed by 9 p.m., right? Like this is why I love Metabolic's concept, because from day one, we're going to be teaching people the right pace at which to move and how many times to come in. And if you go to a Metabolic, great. If you go to an Oak Strong, great. If you go to a CrossFit, great. But you better know where your limits are. Where is that upper limit? And you said something about, being strong is cool, but you got to be able to have cardio too, right? So there is, let's talk about that. It's like strong enough for what? You're a 42-year-old accountant that sits in a chair 8 hours a day and has 2 kids that are in sports in their teens. Like the effort and sacrifices you're going to have to make in order to have a 400-pound deadlift probably aren't worth it, bro. Because as a 42-year-old accountant and dad of 2, a 400-pound deadlift, I'm sorry if you argue that this is my goal and this is what I want to do. Like, I think that's blissful ignorance. You're being ignorant to the sacrifices that you're going to have to take, whether or not you recognize it or not, consciously or subconsciously. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. And yes, we are saying you are the asset, but there is a point where you can cross a line and it can be very selfish. You are not the asset to the detriment of the other assets in your life, which is your relationship, your kids, and your job. So again, it's not about finding balance, because balance is not real. It's about finding the spectrum and the flow, your guardrails. I liken it to being on the highway. There's 2 lanes. Sometimes I'm in the left lane, sometimes I'm in the right lane. But there's a limit to how far left I can go, and there's a limit to how far right I can go. And when I've been traveling at a high speed for a long time, there's times where I have to get off the highway and refuel and rest and get gas. So that's what being a high achiever looks like. Sometimes you're on the highway going 90 miles an hour. Sometimes there's a lot of obstacles in your way, and a lot other cars, other life responsibilities, whatever season you're in life. But you're not going 0 miles an hour. Most of the time. If there's other obstacles, you're going 50 miles an hour. But your average speed over that 5-hour drive is going to be 70 miles an hour. And yes, sometimes there's traffic and you're at a dead stop. And in regards to fitness, if you don't build in the pit stops to get gas and stop and refuel with some beef jerky and some water, and a gas station banana, and as we all love, gas station hard-boiled eggs, the best gas station meal in the world, will come your car in your life. Your body is your car. It's your vehicle. Your body will break. It will break the engine. It will. All of you that have been to a gym and you've been training 6 days a week, there's very few of you that are over the age of 30 that can tell me you train 6 days a week at a gym, giving it 100%, and your body has not been injured. If someone listening to this has been training 6 days a week at 100% effort for years and has not been injured, regardless if they go to your gym or my gym, because we're not perfect. Yeah, even if you have a coach, you can still make a big mistake as a client. If you have the best coach in the world, you can still overdo it, because they're not the ones, they don't know, they're not in your body. So they can say today's an 80% day, but your 80% that day might be you pushing to 100. That person has never, I'd love to meet you. Because after owning a gym for 12 years, everyone that does that pushes the limits and puts the gas pedal to the floor, regardless if they're the 30-year-old or the 50-year-old, they will be hurt. So that's what I like about Metabolic. I like the 4 days a week. I like the 70%, 80%, 90%, 100% pacing structure. I like the safe, structured strength. I like the strength lanes. I love everything about it.
Yeah, no, I could not agree more. And I love I love all the multiplanal stuff. Like, I think we get stuck in sagittal plane, and then all of a sudden we go, you go to shovel the snow and then your back explodes. You have that 400 pound deadlift, but you have no rotational strength at all. Nothing in the frontal plane and stuff like that just gets ignored. I think they do a fantastic job with this. Shawn, let's wrap it up here. Do you want to hit on the final F of freedom?
Yes, the final F, freedom. A lot of people, it's very easy for us to default to this is the freedom of time and money, which is certainly a part of it, right? Especially the freedom of time, the control of your schedule. Because I want to, out of respect to the people that have W-2s and it's like they have to be in the office 9 to 5. I get that, but there's, 15 other hours a day. So what are you doing with those? You're in control of those to a certain extent. Yes, I know some people have kids that are in sports. I'm living through that now, right? We go to soccer twice a week and we have gymnastics on the weekends and we have all this other stuff, birthday parties. One thing they never told you before you became a parent is that you better have a budget line item for birthday parties. I think millennial parents, we fucked this up. When in the hell did it become a requirement that every kid needs to have a birthday party every year? And when did it become a requirement that birthday presents have to be over $20? And why in the hell are we giving gift baskets out at our child's birthday party to every other child? It is our child's birthday party. Why are other kids getting gifts? That's why we're having financial issues in this country, because the millennials spend way too much money. Okay. Anyways, freedom. Yes, it's the control of your time and money. So look at your schedule, audit your schedule, remove things that are not adding value to your life and create space for the things that will, number one. Number two, look at your daily habit stack, be in control of the things that will move you forward. But ultimately it's freedom of mind. So in fitness, I talked about mental and physical health, but freedom is, do you have an abundance mindset? Do you believe that you can achieve the things that you want? So it is freedom of your thoughts, freedom of, have you seen enough people and been around enough people and read about enough people that have gone from where you are, which might be nothing, to where you think you want to be? And that is tough, right? Especially coming from families that didn't have money, families that worked, 40, 60-hour weeks, that, weren't growth minded. Like, that's tough. But that's freedom, man. So we hit on all of them: family, finance, fitness, freedom. I hope people have gotten a little bit of value taken away from today's podcast. Hopefully it wasn't too choppy. The rain came over the mountain there about 15 minutes ago. So I apologize if we had any connection issues.
No, you're fine, man. Shawn, I just appreciate your take on everything. How the balance, I think, for people, for families, just for adults is hard. I don't know if it's harder to be an adult today than it was 40, 50, 60 years ago. I feel like things are more complex now and there's more stuff to worry about, and there are more distractions with cell phones and things and blah, blah, blah. And you're trying to keep up with the, with the Johnsons next door because they bought a new truck. So you have to buy a new truck and blah, blah, blah. And it's, yeah. Anyway, I love your take on it, because I love the balance piece, not just from the fitness side, but everything that makes, a happy, healthy, strong person. So Shawn, thank you so much for your time. If people want to reach out, people want to follow you and find all the cool stuff that you're doing, where do they go?
Instagram's probably the fastest, at Shawn _Rider _SHAWN _Rider RIDER _, or you can find me on Facebook, Shawn Rider, SHAWN RIDER.
And Shawn, the podcast, you're in Jeff podcast, is the Tactical Empire.
The Tactical Empire. That's it. Type it in. We got a nice little red circle logo with TE in the middle. You'll like it, or you'll listen to it. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but either way, you'll learn something.
There we go. Awesome. Shawn, I really appreciate it. I'm glad we fought through the weather. I'm glad we fought through technology. A lot of persevering this morning.
Yes, I appreciate it. I apologize for the choppiness.
Oh, you're fine, man. You are good. Awesome. Listeners, thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. That's all we have for you today. If you have any questions or want to chat or interested in seeing what we're up to in between episodes, head over to Instagram and Facebook and follow @OakStrength. Also check us out at oakstrength.com. If you like this episode, please share it with someone who wants to live happy, healthy, and strong. If you really liked it, subscribe and review the Happy, Healthy, Strong podcast on iTunes or Spotify. Be sure to tune back in next week and remember to keep owning your health.